Um, Welcome to EDUC 521, which is Educational Research Methods. What I'm going to do is go through the syllabus and tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Jennifer Walker, and I will be the instructor for this course this semester. I have previously taught this course before, so I have some experience with kind of the way that it's laid out, as well as some activities to do along the way. I've been working with the instructors who will be receiving you in the fall, and we have come up with a plan for both this semester and next semester to hopefully tie those two semesters together for you. So if you want to follow along in the syllabus, that would be wonderful. I did add a new syllabus to Canvas, which had an explanation for one of the activities that you might be doing or that you will be doing, so you could follow along with that as well. Because this is an online course, if you need an appointment, please contact me. We can do a face-to-face meeting, we can do something online, or a phone consultation. If you'd like to have conversations face-to-face, we can also do a Skype meeting if that works for you. The best place to reach me is through email, and my email address is on the syllabus. I also have my cell phone number on there. If you need to reach out and contact me, please do so. On the front page of the syllabus, it talks about the mission of the College of Education as well as the conceptual framework, and I'll let you take a look at that yourself. And then in the course description. And part of the course description talks about exploring different research techniques as well as methodologies to conduct classroom-based teacher research. So what we'll be doing this semester is really looking at different types of research, learning how to find the research, to read the research, understanding the differences between different types of research in terms of the quantitative versus qualitative versus the mixed methods. And then we'll get into as well some of the statistical measures that you can use, validity, reliability, and in the end, what we want to be able to do is come up with a topic statement to do some research, kind of create an annotated bibliography, as well as learn to synthesize and summarize the research. If you look at the text for this semester, it is the Creswell text. An optional text, which I really feel is almost crucial at this point, is the APA manual, and that is the 6th edition. You want to make sure that you get the 6th edition because the previous version had so many mistakes that they had to republish the actual APA manual, which is almost a little humorous that the guidelines for writing had enough mistakes to need a republication. But the APA manual will be extremely helpful for you as you do your research and begin your writing. I will also be putting some additional readings on Canvas for you to take a look at. They won't be too extensive, but you'll need to check on Canvas to see if there's anything that you need to read. The technology expectations, of course, are pretty extensive here because we're going to be exclusively learning online. I will be interacting in a manner such as this, where I'm either telling you things, I may go through some of the PowerPoints and do a voiceover. I may even engage in Canvas to do some collaboration where we're actually all online together, because I think that's going to be really important for understanding some of these research ideas and really kind of solidifying what's going on, especially when we get to quantitative research and statistical measures. So you'll notice on Canvas that each of the modules is done into weeks. So you'll see module 1 will be for week 1, and I'll have the date on there. And what I do for organization is when each of those modules is finished, in other words, when I put everything into that module that I'm going to put in, I will write the word done next to that week. So you'll be able to see week 1, May 14th, it'll say done next to it. That lets you know that you don't need to keep revisiting that particular module to see if anything else has been added. You know that I'm done with that. It's ready for you. In terms of class policies and procedures, late work, the due dates for everything we do in this class are listed in the syllabus, and They are very firm. I give you a lot of heads up on a week-to-week basis, as well as I incorporate some informal assignments as well so that it leads you up to the bigger assignments. So if an assignment is not submitted on time, it is a 2-point per day penalty, but I do not take assignments after 5 days. So after 5 days, that's it. It's done. It's a 0. Um, the very, very, very rare exceptions to that are when there have been serious issues, such as hospitalization, um, something big. But in order to go past that 5 days, you need to get prior approval from me. So if you come to me on day 6 and say, hey, I had this big issue going on, and I want to know if I can go past the 5 days, I'm going to tell you I'm sorry, but that can't happen. You need to get prior approval to go past 5 days. And again, it is extremely rare that that happens. So if you're going to be late with an assignment, what I ask that you do is you let me know that it's going to be late and give me an anticipated date that you expect to turn it in, so I know when to expect it. Our due date for this particular class is going to be on Thursdays. So even though we won't formally be meeting, everything that you're going to turn into me is going to be on Thursdays by midnight. That's our timeline. So it has to be in Canvas Thursday at midnight or it's late. Okay. I mentioned the APA formatting. Everything you turn into me is going to be in APA. That is part of what is accepted in the College of Education as well, so it's not just for my class. APA, you need to take a look at how your papers are set up. We're talking 1-inch margins, 12-point font, Times New Roman, and specific headings, running head, page numbers, that sort of thing. So take some time to look that over. And as we continue working, you'll notice that it'll become more and more kind of second nature for you. When you turn in assignments, and I'm at the work submission piece, I do ask that you include your name and the assignment so that when I download your files or I go to read your files, it's ready for me to put right into my computer and I can look at that. To really maximize the points earned, I strongly encourage you to use the rubric as a guide. I include what my expectations are when I do the rubric and the guidelines. So if you follow that pretty closely or you follow that to a T, you're going to maximize your points. If at any time you are confused about an assignment, you don't understand what the expectations are, or you're just having difficulty getting through it, contact me. Let's talk about it. Let's communicate. Let's problem solve it together, and we'll figure that out. Academic integrity. I do ask that you credit all your sources. This is particularly true for citations. So if you are writing a paper and you're making a statement, you need to tell me where you got that particular statement from. So cite your sources. And anything that you are repeating from an author, if it's 4 or more words, it should be directly quoted from that author. You are directly taking that information and replicating it. 4 more words. So that's a direct quote that includes page numbers. I do encourage you at all costs to try to summarize. I think that's the most important thing to learn in writing and scholarly writing, is to really be able to summarize what you read. So if you can, which is almost always possible, instead of directly quoting another author, try to summarize it yourself. So in terms of the class participation for this course, there's 2 things to remember here. First, this is an online class. So the expectation is what you are doing at home is not only taking the place of what you would be doing at home after class anyway, but you're also doing what we would be doing in class. So the amount of work is kind of twofold. You're doing at-home work as well as classwork during these modules. The other piece to remember is that this is a summer course. So we don't have the luxury of those extra 2-3 weeks that we have in the spring and the fall. Everything is very condensed. So therefore, it makes these weeks pretty hefty when you're looking at these modules. So I know it seems like a lot, but please remember all these components that are kind of adding to our summer course. The expectation is that you're going to participate online, and that you are going to interact with your peers and with me. You can do this at your own pace as well as your own time. So you can do it whenever it's convenient for you. But our due dates are going to remain the same, which is going to be Thursdays at midnight. You don't have to turn any kind of certificates in other than the city certificate when you do your when you do that particular module. You do need to turn that in for a grade as well as hold on to it for next semester when you do your action research. Other than that, I don't need to see anything that you're completing online, but I am going to be able to tell as evidenced by the work that you're turning in. So if you're not doing the pieces along the way, it's going to build up, and then you're not going to be able to do the final assignments. So just know that that's the expectation. So I'm looking now at the week-to-week component, and what you'll see for the course outline is kind of the topics for the day, as well as the readings and assignments, and those are the dates that those are due. And you'll see one of the very first assignments you have is a Canvas discussion. So there will be a thread started in Canvas, and you do need to interact twice in order to get credit. You'll notice that that particular assignment is due on the 20th. So this is the one exception to our Thursday by midnight rule. And the reason I pushed that back a little is because I wanted everybody to kind of get their feet wet with this course and kind of figure out what was going on before we had something due right away. So there will be a discussion there. So I will be putting PowerPoints up, like I said, articles, things for you to read on a week-by-week basis. I'm going to discuss some of the actual assignments, but what I want to point out to you is when you look at the syllabus, anything in bold is something that is due, that must be turned in. The expectation is you're doing the rest of the things listed there. However, what is in bold is what is turned in. Now, there is an exception to that. If you look at the bold italics, things in italics are your informal assignments. The reason those are on there is to keep you on track. There is a large assignment that's due at the end. If you don't do these informal assignments and kind of stick with me as I'm explaining each step and working our way through this syllabus, you're going to have a tougher time when it comes time at the end to turn in your final paper. So for example, if you look at June 5th, there's an informal assignment due. It is written in italics. It says Literature Review, Introduction, and Method Section Draft. I do expect that you have that, and we may be doing some peer editing or some peer work together on those. But you don't have to turn it in, but the expectation is if I contacted you and said, hey, I want to see your draft, how's it going? Let's share that you have that done and ready to turn in. Okay? You'll see that it's a 10-week course, and I think everything is pretty well mapped out on the week-by-week grid there. There are 6 assignments for this particular course, and I'm going to walk through each one of those for you. The grades are also written down so you can see how the grades are broken out. So let's start with I'm not sure if the reflection and interaction is first on your syllabus, but let's do that first. So there will be 5 reflection and interaction discussions, which is the first assignment that's going to be due. And what will happen there is I will either pose a question or make a statement, and I want you to interact with your peers and with me based on that particular prompt. And again, you will need to interact twice in order to get the full amount of points. What you can do is you can ask questions, you can respond to somebody else's comments, you can contribute excerpts from your readings, from your experience, from an article that you've read, from some of the research you're doing in terms of the readings. Any of that is fine. All that I kind of lay out for you is that we respect each other's opinions and viewpoints and always act with the utmost professionalism as we're interacting with one another. Okay? For your final research project, we're going to talk a lot about this throughout the semester. But what you're going to do is you're going to do a research paper. You are going to be able to pick a topic of your choice, anything that you want, anything in education that interests you, and I will give you all sorts of topics that you could possibly begin to choose. And you are going to go through the literature, find research on that topic, tell me about that research, and then synthesize it together. The great thing is, once you get done with this, you are almost going to have a literature review done for when you go in to do your action research, if this is a topic that's going to carry over for you. If not, it also just kind of gives you a foundation for other components in education that you want to look at. I'm not going to go through it too much here, but you do need to have your topic approved by me. So again, I will give you some possible topic ideas. You'll kind of look at them, think it over, and then you'll let me know what it is you're thinking about. And the reason you're going to let me know is because it might be helpful for me to tell you to either narrow it down or expand it, knowing what the research is that's available. I don't want you to set yourself up by picking something that's so narrow you're not going to find anything, or so broad that you're just going to be overwhelmed with information. So that will include a couple sections, and I think I just kind of generally covered that, but we will talk a lot about that. That is due at the end. The other thing that you're going to do for this class is an annotated bibliography, and what that is going to be 5 entries. So you're going to look for 5 different research articles. Each article is going to be from a different methodology. So as we go along in the course, we're going to talk about these different methodologies, and so you'll start plucking articles of interest from each methodology. The 5 articles you pick for this bibliography cannot go into your final paper, because the purpose of this is to expose you to different types of research. You will be able to overlap with a different assignment, but for the annotated bibliography, it has to be completely independent of your final paper and of any other assignment that you're doing. So you'll find something that's quantitative, qualitative, single subject, a mixed methods, and a meta-analysis. And if you don't know what those are at this point, that's okay, because we're going to learn. So I'll help you and we'll get through that. So what you'll do is essentially do an APA reference and then a paragraph annotating and summarizing the source. Okay. One of the other things that you're going to do really, really early on is your city training. And what this is about using human subjects for research. So not only do you have to do the main city program, but you also have to do the 2 additional modules that have to do with working with students, working with school-age children and persons with disabilities. Now, the last time I checked, the 2 add-ons, the children and the persons with disabilities, did not print a certificate. When you do the initial city training, you do get a certificate there. So print that out for your records, do a screenshot, whatever you need to do. But the other 2 modules, those add-ons, you'll need to take a screenshot. So if you don't know how to do that, Google that information, learn how to do it on your computer, take a screenshot, and you'll submit all that to me, and you'll need to hold on to that for next semester as well to show that you've done the training for the human subjects. Okay? You will also be doing 2 article analyses in this. Now, this is where it becomes great, because you can use these article analyses for your final paper. So when you start looking for articles for your final paper, you start analyzing these articles, you can take that information and then roll it into your final paper, so you're not doing double the work. Okay? And the point of these article analyses are to get you in the habit of synthesizing information and really being concise with your summaries. They are only 3-page papers, which means you have to tell me about the article and then critique it in a very short amount of space. So we really are going to be looking for the economy of expression in this course. I want you to be concise and succinct. You have to really kind of learn to bring it in, and you will continue honing in on that skill throughout the semester. So those will be 3 pages each. One will be a quantitative paper, a true experimental, and then one will be a qualitative paper. So again, we're going to be talking about these types of methodologies, so we'll really be setting you up for success in terms of how to find the articles. Okay, and as each of these assignments rolls in, I will start walking you through what to do and give you some exemplars of what it would look like when it's finished. So again, that's a 3-page, and then there will be a midterm along the way. Very short midterm, very direct to the point. Typically, it's about 10 multiple choice and then 3 or 4 short answers. So again, I'm looking at economy of expression, tell me what you know quickly and succinctly. So it's not terribly long, but that'll also be a good place for me to do some formative assessment to see how we're moving along and whether or not we're really kind of picking up all the information. I do expect that everyone puts the honor code at the end of their assignment, so if you're not familiar with that, take a look at the syllabus on how to do that, and if you're not familiar with Mary Washington's honor code in general, you might want to take a peek. And just so you know, there is an Office of Disability Services as well as a Writing Center. Please let the Office of Disability Services know if you need any accommodations, and then I do believe then you'll pass that on to me once that you've gone through them. And then again, the Writing Center has additional supports for you. As far as emergency information, we're not going to be on campus. Thankfully, there's no more snow, so hopefully we won't need that as emergency services, but I do have that on the syllabus as well. There is an appendix attached where I kind of break down what to expect for each of these assignments, what I'm looking for. And again, if you really just kind of use those as a checklist, you'll have everything that you need. I really hope that this is going to be a very successful semester. I think it's going to take a little bit of work on each of our parts to continue communicating through some of the discussions, because I do think that some of the methodologies are going to be a little tough as we start kind of just trying to read about them or look at PowerPoint. So I anticipate us having some discussions, some live discussions as well as some voiceovers in order to make sure that this information is really kind of soaking in. The other thing that I will most likely be doing, despite the fact that I am not particularly fond of video recording myself, is doing a little Q&A. So if you will have questions, and if I'm seeing that there's some questions that a number of students are having, I will address those questions in a format such as this so that you can actually kind of hear me talk through it, because I think sometimes that's a lot easier than email or doing one-on-one phone conversations with folks if there's questions that are kind of hanging out there among several people. So again, take a look at the book, take a look at the modules on Canvas, and keep emailing me. Let me know what your questions are. Let me know what your concerns are. And I'm really excited about the semester, and I think that it's going to be a very successful semester. Keep those lines of communication open with me, and I will be posting on that discussion for you all to reply to within the next 24 hours or so. But I look forward to interacting with each of you this summer. Take care.